next up will be coolant lines. I've got some exhaust tubing that I'm going to use for that. Got, what is it, inch and a quarter, whatever this is up at the top, and then inch and a half for the bottom. My goal right now is what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ends of the radiator hose, the stock radiator hoses, and use those to go from, the exhaust pipe to the block, or to the engine up here on the top of the block, or down here on the water pump. And then also the same thing for the radiator. That way I don't have to worry about going size to size, one size to another on the tubing. Okay, so I've got the lower radiator hose, or radiator pipe, whatever you want to call it now, mocked up. You can see I'm using the pieces of the factory radiator hose. I got the little bend that comes off of the water pump, and then the other end. This is actually the middle section of the hose that is going to connect to the radiator and the pipe. This is all 1.5 inch mandrel bent exhaust tubing. I'm gonna get it all welded up, but I'm also gonna have to put somewhere I'm gonna have to make a little bracket, because this thing's kind of heavy and it likes to wobble, and I don't want it to wear through by hitting on the power steering line. There's some clearance here. Once I get it held up in place, it'll be plenty of clearance around the little U-joint for the steering and the rest of the power steering lines, so that'll be good. Right there. I need to, I guess, check the belt. Actually, no, the belt's on there. Never mind. I don't need to check the belt. So yeah, there is the lower radiator hose. Now to get started on the top. I think the top will be pretty easy. I think it's just going to be just a straight piece of tube. It's I think 1.25 inches is what it is. I don't think I'm going to have any bends in it, but we'll see. I think I can come right off of here with the factory hose, and we'll see what I can do with the back side. But yeah, there we are. Now on to the next one. Okay, alright, both upper and lower radiator hoses are mocked up. I need to go through and weld up the bottom one, and then on both of them I need to go through on the ends where they go into the hose, and I need to put a little raised section on there. I don't know if I'm just going to weld a bead, or if I have some thin wire, I may just tack a couple pieces of wire on there, but the bead will probably be the easiest thing to do. That way when you put the clamp on there, there's a little lip, kind of like what's on the factory mounts, or the factory, or, the radiator end, or the end of your water exit there. That way that you put the clamp on there and the hose can't pull off. Now, if you're wondering why I'm using the pieces of the stock hose, I kind of, I mentioned earlier that I'm going to be using bits of the stock hose so that I can get the right size. But you say, oh, why don't you just go get you some, little universal elbows or something to put on here. Well, my thought with doing the pieces of the factory hose is that if I'm ever out somewhere and one of the rubber pieces of the hose breaks, I can just go to AutoZone or O'Reilly's or Advance, any auto parts store, and I should be able to find an upper or lower radiator hose for a Jeep Cherokee, and then just cut the piece off of it that I need and put it on, and then I'm good to go. I'm probably not going to find universal bends. I mean, I'd have to go through and piece stuff together if I wanted to do that, but this I think this is going to be the best way to go. Easy now, easy later, and safe. Oh, and I've also got the spring inside of here. From the factory, there's a spring inside of your lower hose. I went ahead and put it in it's inside of here. That way, it doesn't collapse from the suction. Over here, there shouldn't be a problem with it. There's not much of a gap for it to suck itself shut. But all right, now I'm gonna pull this out, weld it up, and then I'll get some video of it, of the steel parts of the hose themselves, just to show you what they look like once I get it all welded up. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do for the radiator hoses or radiator pipes, to make a little lip on here so that when the radiator hose goes on and I clamp it down, that it can't just blow right off. I'm going to use this 1/8 inch solid rod, and I'm going to weld it about 1/4 inch back from the edge all the way around. The heat of the weld should let me bend it around pretty easily. I shouldn't have to use any additional heat to bend it around. But here we go. Alright, so here's the first ring on here. It's not perfect, but it should work. I'll go through and I'm going to weld it all the way around. Okay, so this turned out way uglier than expected, but it works. So you can see here's the little bulge. That's where the rib is on this side. You can put the clamp there and the hose won't blow off. So it's ugly, but you won't see it, so it's a success. Alright, so I tried something different for the upper hose and it seems to work a little better. It's probably what I should have done the first time. I just turned the welder down real low to like 22 gauge. This is some 16 gauge material. Just made some little caterpillars on here. Just real high build weld, beat all the way around it. Then I kind of sanded it down, and it was a lot easier to do, and it looks a little better. Of course, I mean, you know, you're not going to see it. It's going to have a hose around it, but it's much easier than trying to. You saw how much I fought with that stupid rod, the 1/8 inch rod. So if I were to do this again on anything, I would do it this way. Alright, I'm working on the firewall now. I've got it in, it's going to be in 3 pieces. I've got the passenger side in 1 piece and the driver's side is going to be 2 pieces. Helps get things in, or helps you know, install it. It'll all screw together once it's when everything's finished up. But the reason I got to do this is so I can get the gas pedal mount on, and then I could work on the floors together. The next thing I'm gonna do is actually make a template for the floor. That way I can get that bent up and all into place, and then get the pedal mounted and make sure it's gonna have full motion on it. And I'm finally gonna be able to use all this cardboard that I've been hoarding for the past 3 or 4 months. And my wife's gonna enjoy that. The garage will get cleaned up a little bit more, because I've got, oh, here's a box, there's a box, there's a box, there's a bunch of boxes. Just been hoarding good cardboard, because I know I'm going to be needing it for all this. But here's the start of the firewall. Next thing I'm going to do is make templates for the floor, and I'll try to get some video of that before the end of the day. Alright, here's a little bit of an update. I've got the pieces of the driver's side floor in. They're, you know, bent and in place. I can put my feet on there. Imagine there's a gas pedal there. One of the good things about how kind of symmetrical I made the floor and stuff on here, and along also the chassis builder, how he made the chassis symmetrical on the sides, is the passenger floor. I put the I had the template upside down when I drew the lines out for the bend, so which meant I bent it in the wrong direction. So I just dropped it over here. It looks like it's going to drop right in. I need to get the this side right here put in, and then I can go about confirming 100% that the gas pedal is going to have full movement. Maybe tomorrow I'll work on getting tabs welded on to hold the floor and everything in place, but I'm going to try to get a couple more panels made tonight before I stop. Then I'll update it before I clean up for the night. Alright, so figured I'd videotape at least one cut on here, and I'm just going to go ahead and lop this whole end off so that I can get a clean edge when I put this aluminum back up against the wall. A bunch of jagged pieces on it. So I figure I'll show you what I'm using. I got the little, it's a swivel head shear from Harbor Freight. It's rated for up to 14 gauge. I don't know if that's steel or aluminum, but it cuts this 90 thousandths aluminum pretty good. You lose about a 1/4 inch. It makes up, you end up with these little, I don't know, look like little curly fries. They're about a 1/4 inch wide. That's what you get when you cut. So you need to make sure you don't have everything right up against, or you don't have your the areas you're going to cut. You don't have them right next to each other. You need to have about a 1/4 inch gap so that you can cut the gap and get your part. But it's a nice clean edge when it cuts. I usually I'll put a little bit of WD-40 on here as it goes, and it seems to cut really smooth that way. I'll give you an example. Alright, let's see, I had to stop there because a piece of material was about to fall over and it was kinking up and wouldn't run. But that was a 5-foot cut right there. Here's the little curly you get. But it works great. It will do circles, not very good circles, but it'll do circles. The radius there around the transmission, that was done with the shear. It did need to get cleaned up afterwards with a grinder, but it did it. You probably want to use a jigsaw or something if you're going to do a lot of curves. But for straight cuts, man, this thing works great. It's really quiet. It's quieter than even than regular running a drill. If you're trying to use a jigsaw, those are pretty loud. Angle grinders are loud. Bandsaws, yeah, you need a pretty big bandsaw to be able to cut this. But yeah, there's it's from Harbor Freight. I don't know what the item number is on it. Actually, 68199. It's 14 gauge 4 amp. I don't know if that 4 amp is real or not, but it cuts pretty good. Let me see that's all it moves, but it does pretty good. Mechanical scissors, or I don't know what electric scissors, whatever you're gonna call it. Yeah, there you go. I don't know if I'll get any more video tonight. I'll try to get one more. I don't know I think I might just get this cut out and I'll be done for the night. And I'll get it all bent up. tomorrow or whenever the next day is I get a chance to work on this. But I need to get these cut out and all this put up against the wall so that I can pull the cars in tonight, because I've really got a mess going on out here. Okay, this is really the last video now for the night. I went ahead and got the pieces kind of mocked up in there, sitting where they are. It looks crappy right now. Once it's done, it'll all finish up somewhat all right. But yeah, that's what the driver's little foot area is going to look like. I'll get another video once I get it all cleaned up and fitting all right together. You know, it's not a show car, but I don't want it to be looking like it's all hacked together. So there you have it.